Hey everyone, welcome back to Coffee with Craner. Today I'm here with Gavin Michael Booth. We're going to be talking all about local film, the work he's done out in the US and Canada, some projects he may have on the go right now, and so much more. But just a background about Gavin is he's a writer and director and has had many accolades, things that he's been a part of. Last Call, you might have seen that at WIF. I know I did. And a number of films. I'm seeing here there's 2 feature films. There's a sci-fi drama that you have this year, I believe. Is it with Pretty?
The plan is that both will come out this year.
This year, okay.
It's up to the film distribution gods what happens, but it should be. They should both come out this year.
And what were the names of those 2 films again?
So there's Sydney versus Sean.
Yes.
Which is like a more on the rom-com side. It stars Janelle Parrish from Pretty Little Liars. That's what most people know her from.
Yep.
Or if you watch The Masked Singer, she was the Gazelle last season, so she amazing voice. And then T.R. Knight from Grey's Anatomy, who played Dr. George O'Malley. Most people, he's on The Flight Attendant on HBO. And then Ryan Powers, who wrote it, produced it with me, and is the lead actor. You've seen, if you watch Marvel, he's on She-Hulk, and then he was in The Mandalorian as well for Star Wars fans.
Will he be in the Red Hulk?
Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, he played one of She-Hulk's bad dates when she's going through her dating life, and it has this great little moment. Yeah.
That's awesome, and a number of other films, The Scare House, and then Last Call. Actually, so you won one of the best films in 2021 from Harper. Is it Bazaar?
It's not an award, but we're on a list where they claimed it, which was wild because it was amongst all of these giant Hollywood films, and somehow that critic had seen our film, and that rarely happens with independent films that don't have a known cast. So it was kind of mind blowing.
Yeah, the entire film was the way it was recorded was just so unique compared to other.
Yeah, it's
dramas, right?
It's a single take. For people that aren't film nerds, we call action, roll the camera, and the entire movie plays out in one take. But it's also split screen.
Yes.
So we had 2 camera crews in 2 different parts of the city recording simultaneously, and the 2 main characters are connected over a series of phone calls. It's like filming 2 live plays. It's impossible to make one single take film. Making 2 single take films at the same time, I don't even know why we tried, because when I look back on it now, and even trying to do you try to do a 2-minute oneer of a walk and talk conversation in a movie scene, and you're like, okay, take 8, take 9. I'm like, I don't even know how we did a whole feature. It was just blind ambition. Yeah. Because I the hindsight now, I don't think I would ever attempt that again.
Yeah, no, it was cool to see as a young kid. I think would have been 2019. Is that right?
It would have played WIF in 2019.
2019, yes.
Yeah.
And some other fun facts about Gavin is that you grew up in Amherstburg, which we're at right now. We have bucket list in front of us.
Monopoly Subdivision, General Amherst. I know it's Phil Paul. I mentioned him anymore, but that's the school I went to.
Yeah. And is that where you started learning about filmmaking?
I was always obsessed with movies. My father's a photographer. I had a dark room in the basement growing up. I didn't use that much, but we had an 8mm film camera for doing home movies, and I learned how to do animation on that because it had a little wire that you plug into the camera, and every time you clicked it, it shot 1 frame. So I could take Lego figures or Star Wars action figures and make little simple animations. But when I got to General Amherst at the time, they had just upgraded their sort of video editing suites and cameras, and it's all stuff that fits in an iPhone now, but it took a whole room to do. And there was a teacher there, Keith Herrick, who was the communications teacher, who really took me under his wing and saw something in me that maybe I didn't see yet, but gave me a lot of after school access, had me do a lot of promotional videos for the school. By the time I left his classes, I knew that I was obsessed with this. This is what I wanted to do.
So was that teacher that really opened your eyes to everything, or did you was it more the things at home, and then you're like, okay, let's? And then the school had the program.
The real truth is, I just wanted to be a writer. I'd been doing creative writing since 6th grade and entering little writing contests and things, and I loved writing movies and figuring. I didn't know what I was doing then, but I loved the idea of it. But there was no internet then. There was no Facebook to like, hey, who else wants to make a movie with me? So it's sort of like I'll learn the camera, I'll learn how to direct.
Yeah.
Mostly all my neighborhood friends in the Boardwalk and Monopoly subdivision were like my cast and crew. One of my very good friends, Eli Parent, who still lives in the same house on Boardwalk. Him and I would make all these mostly parody films. It was like Friday the 13th Part 27, or we'd make like Indiana Jones and the Lost Remote Controller, just little parody, mimicking what we liked on TV and film, and that just I just kind of never stopped.
Lost Remote Controller.
Yeah.
Was it found?
Oh, I can't remember. That'd be a spoiler, right?
Yeah.
I actually don't remember. It's been too long.
And another project when we were researching about you was there's a music video. Was it shot on, or a video shot on Boblo?
Yeah. So there's
Tell
a
us
music
about that.
video that I did for Simmel, spelled Syml.
Okay.
Super famous artist. His music is in, I feel like, every other. If there's a Netflix series and it's got a dramatic moment or a bit of heartbreak, it's now like Simmel's music is in there. Brian, who is Simmel, he's sort of like a one-man band. I met him through another band I was working with. And what was funny was this video I shot on Boblo. It's a narrative music video. So the artist doesn't appear in the video. It's like a short film set to the song. I had shot that footage for a different band that ended up not being able to pay their bills. So I just was stuck with this footage. And when I met Brian, of all things in Grand Cayman Island while working with another band, he said, hey, I have this new music project and this is the single. Like, maybe you could write a music video and see. And he played me the song and I just said, I already have your music video. Like, I actually already have it. He's like, that means like you have the idea in your head. I'm like, I literally have footage that I shot for something else that would fit this perfectly. So I cut it together to show him, and him, the label, everybody agreed. And then, ironically, that's gone on to become my most successful music video. Like, the song was awarded a platinum record, so they included the music video and the success of that. So I own the platinum record. I don't even know how to sing. And then
That's cool. Wow.
Yeah, it has, I don't know, something 65, 70 million views or something. But all just shot on Boblo Island.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow. I'll have to check that out. I didn't have a chance to watch it yet, but full circle, happened in your town.
And that's the beauty of making movies like in Windsor, Essex County is the access to things. You're always one degree away from somebody that's like, okay, well, we need a secluded beach, like forest path. I'm like, I know exactly who to call on Boblo Island to make this happen.
Yeah.
And people that are willing to help and want to help. The community here is like, I wouldn't have 80% of the film career that I have if not for like the generosity.
If it wasn't as accessible to film there. Yeah. Now, a lot of the skill that you've learned, was it in that class at Amherst, or would you say most was self-taught?
Definitely the early skills were through that class, but then just all art is experimentation. You're never going to learn to be a painter unless you just keep making mistakes and figuring out how to do it better. And film and videography isn't much different. There obviously are rules and camera settings and lens choices and all of that there is a history that you can learn, but it's really just going out and doing it until you get good at it, But I would spend hours and hours. I was just talking about it the other day that like my life hasn't changed much since high school, because I would stay after school and basically until the janitorial staff were going home at like 11 p.m. I would stay in the edit room, and then they would kick me out when the school had to be locked up for the night. May have spent a few overnights as well that nobody knows about. I can talk about it now. It's safe. Yeah.
School's not there. Like it's
the school's gone. It's fine. Statute of limitations.
They're going to pull back your.
But having a teacher that would do that for you in a world where I feel like it's just so much more restrictive now with the rules and regulations around teaching kids.
Yeah.
But having somebody that was like, he would pull me out of classes to be like, go film this. You should be doing this for.
Awesome.
Need to worry about that.
That's the best part is.
I think what I learned there the most was just self motivation. Oh, I lost the screen.
There. But yeah, no, it's great when teachers see the passion and they fuel it instead of taking the book away and saying, hey, go do this. When the passion's not actually there, right?
I had a few of those teachers too.
Yeah, I think we all have. Yeah. So how have things progressed since that class? Now, now you're like independent, working on projects that come up. I know you spent some time in Los Angeles.
Yeah,
Tell us about that.
Still do. We didn't really have plans to come home from Los Angeles, but when the pandemic put the 2-week mandatory quarantine to the border, we just had to adjust. And Sarah, my wife, who's a full-time actor, she had a gig in Canada. I had more work potential in Canada. Canada sort of opened up its film industry sooner than the U.S. during the pandemic, so we said, well, let's go home for a year, and then it's turned into like a couple of years. And now we split our times. Like we're fortunate enough to be green card holders in the U.S.
Yep.
But that means 6 months. So doing that balance, I've generally worked every year. I always have enough work there that takes me there for 6 months. But at some point we'll probably have to rent a place again. And doesn't necessarily mean L.A. But yeah, I've been self-employed essentially since high school. I did one small stint at Walmart on Google, and then trying to save up for film school, but didn't really have the money, or didn't really have the. I just started doing people's wedding videos, local TV commercials. I was pretty bad at corporate video because I didn't enjoy it, and it took me a long time to realize like you can't.
Too many guidelines.
Yeah, but you should also never do anything, especially for a client, unless you truly are enjoying it and can bring your passion to do it. You're gonna do everything I put out was okay. I just really hated it and would miss deadlines here and there because I just wasn't into it.
Yeah, your heart wasn't into it.
Yeah. So, but it's also like that's the way that most filmmakers earn a living, is working in commercials or working as a grip on corporate videos or whatever it is to pay the bills between
major
projects that they get to make.
And now you decided Los Angeles. Was it because there's a lot of projects out there? Is that where it seems to all go? I know that Hollywood. Everyone's heard of that, right?
Of course. Well, I had printed in high school. I still have it today, just on a piece of like gray paper on like an inkjet printer, and just block letters that said Ontario born, Hollywood bound. And I had that. People talk about vision boards and The Secret and all that. And I don't know if I believe in any of that stuff, but I'm like, it happened. I literally stared at this thing every day, and it happened. So. We went out there. Our film, The Scare House, that was shot in Windsor, it got picked up by Universal Studios for release in the U.S. So Sarah acted in the film. I directed it. We co-wrote the story together. And we're like, well, if there was ever a time to go to L.A. and try to just take some meetings, maybe Universal can set us up with some meetings. Let's go down. So it was also winter, so we're like, let's just go for 2 months and escape the winter. So we rented like an Airbnb place for a couple months. Sarah fell in love with surfing. She kind of like looked at the American acting system and audition system and said, I kind of feel like I like this better than the way things work in Canada. We figured out that we were eligible for green cards, so we applied. We managed to get them, and that was the big change. But LA it's still the central figure of the entertainment industry. Not a lot of things are filmed in LA, but all of the corporate offices are there. Just every birthday party you go to, you're bumping into, famous people that are producers and the thing, the people that you need to kind of like help your career. I ended up doing a project for Blumhouse, which is like, the sort of top horror company on planet Earth and for the last decade. But I don't think that project would have happened if not for being in LA and being able to meet the people. And it's sort of organic. You meet them at a Halloween party, and then you just, it's like anything. Networking is gross when it's like just trying to get something out of somebody.
Yeah,
but networking is at its best where you like. That's why WIF is so crucial to the local film scene. It keeps putting a group of filmmakers in the same rooms, like 6-7 times a year, and then they get talking about like, oh, what do you want to do? Oh, I could help you do this.
I know somebody.
For that. I know somebody. Like that's where networking is at its best. So LA is amazing for that. Can't beat the weather until maybe this week. Weather's great. It's a fun place to live. It's an expensive place to live. Like you have to really want
it is
to
expensive.
Be there. It's costly, but it was great, and I always have a heart for it and always love it. I was just back there in July or August filming on a project, and it's still good to like have a base there and catch up with people. And,
I haven't been to too many places, but in the States, it's one of my favorite places to visit.
It's amazing.
Luckily in 2023, our flight was delayed like 5 days in a row. So we were there during Christmas, and it was a blast.
Well, Christmas in LA is awesome because no one's there. Everybody leaves, so you didn't have the regular traffic. Everybody goes home for the holidays, and then you have so much less traffic on the roads. Did you do any of the studio tours?
No, I don't think we didn't. No,
those still amaze me, even though I make films. Like we were just there recently, and Ken, my cinematographer, Ken Amlin, he's from Windsor. He was with me, and it was his first trip to LA. I'm like, well, we got to do the Warner Brothers tours. And part of me is like, I've done this like 6-7 times. But you still go in there. It's like, it's the props from this movie, and they've got the real Batmobile that they use in the movie. Like, there's still that magic that isn't. Like, you get to walk the back lots and see like where Friends was shot, where this was shot. Like,
yeah, no, it was an awesome experience. I'd move there in a heartbeat during retirement or something. It would love it. Who have you been able to cross paths with? I guess, is there anyone in your industry that you really look up to? You aspire to be in the filmmaking side? Maybe had the chance to meet them?
Yeah.
Is there anyone that you followed along the way?
Yeah, I mean, early in my career, I did a YouTube project called How Many Days, where I said, I'm going to post a video every single day, 365 days a year. And there's a target of like meeting these certain people that inspired my career the most. But I can't try to get the video to them. I just have to post it
and help other people
and see what happens. Like a social media experiment. And we're talking like the early days of YouTube. But I ended up getting to sit down with Quentin Tarantino through that.
Wow.
And Kevin Smith, who made Clerks and Mallrats, like the Jay and Silent Bob movies. And that was amazing to see like social media be such a powerful tool, But yeah, the two filmmakers that I love the most are Steven Soderbergh, who's famous for won an Oscar for Traffic, made the Ocean's 11 movies, but every year puts out a movie or two. And then Richard Linklater, who made Boyhood and Dazed and Confused and the Before Sunrise trilogy. What I like the best about the two of them is they're always working. Their films are always in different genres. If you didn't know the film was directed by them, you might not know because they just are constantly doing something different every time, and that's kind of what I want to do. So I kind of like respect their model and their work ethic.
There isn't a specific genre that
it's like if you watch a Michael Bay movie, you kind of know what a Michael Bay movie is going to look like and feel like. But no, I love all genres. And it's harder to sell yourself as a director too. And they're like, well, what do? You do horror? I'm like, yeah, I've done a few of those.
Yeah.
But I also like rom-coms and I like science fiction and I want to tell dramas and I want to do this weird single take movie that we did.
Yep.
It makes you less packageable for a manager or an agent to just try to go out and get you work. It takes a lot more effort to get people to understand what you're trying to do. But then, and I'm not saying that I have the talent of Steven Spielberg, but like in the same year, Steven Spielberg made Jurassic Park and Schindler's List. Like a director is capable of telling many stories in many different formats, if they're a good director,
And on that topic of making it in this industry, for somebody that's at North Star now and they're in the filmmaking class, what advice do you have for them? Stay there overnight and
I mean, well, now anybody, whatever computer or laptop they have at home, whatever smartphone they're running around with, like it's a cinema camera. Like if you have an iPhone 12 and on, not even that. There's a feature film called Tangerine. Sean Baker, who's about to be nominated for an Oscar for Anora, made one of his early films, Tangerine, on the iPhone 5. And it looks kind of crude by today's standards, but like it didn't matter. He just went out and finished the thing. And it's the script and the actors and the execution of the director that matter the most. That the gear does not matter. And so many people that I know at film fret about, I got to wait till I have a better camera. I got to wait till I have better lighting. I could do this. It's like, no, the important thing is to just go do it and tell the story. So whatever camera you have, if you want to tell stories, you also have YouTube now where you can just upload your content and have an instant audience, like absolutely instant.
Yeah.
And some people will be like, I only got 1,000 views. It's like, that's 1,000 strangers. That would take me 4 film festivals usually to get an audience of 250 people at 4 that I had to pay to travel to and pay to submit and hope that we got in. It's like you can just build your own audience and show people what you can do and just get better and better and better. It's just that practice. Like just go pick up the camera and do things.
And how do you land projects? Like what's the strategy behind that?
That's a mixed bag. I have a manager. Maritza, my manager, is wonderful. So she's out there constantly trying to find meetings for me, trying to get TV companies interested, maybe hiring me to direct, trying to connect me with financiers, production companies to read my scripts and see what can be done. And then the rest of it is, just self motivated, just trying to constantly network. And then sometimes projects fall in my lap. Like I feel like I'm just entering a stage where I've done enough that some people know what I've done and respect what I've done. Where like I had a call yesterday from a filmmaker friend in LA. And it's the simplest story. Sarah acted in a movie called Encounter that he directed. And he called me and said, "Hey, I just did rewrites on this script. They want to shoot it in Canada for the tax credits, so I can't be the director. I showed them your work. They're interested. Do you want to read it and have a meeting?" So like it's the first time that like projects have like started to just come my way without any kind of like effort or chasing them. So,
and was there a project, like for anyone that's starting this industry, they get to a project that kind of lets everything take off, or
you hope for that?
Yeah.
And I've had a few projects where I thought, okay, this is the one. This is gonna just put you over the edge and then make life easier. But it's such a rare thing for a movie to connect with an audience in such a way that it gets all of that attention and changes somebody's life. Like you got to like win Sundance Film Festival, or get on all the critics lists, or just have that social media buzz. There's a horror film called Terrifier. The first one was like a moderate success with horror fans. They made a Terrifier 2 and it did like 20 million at the box office. So like for a low budget indie horror film, and that changed that director's life forever. There's a couple where it's been, everyone around me is like, yeah, this is it, this is the one, and then it doesn't happen. You realize it's just like it's the real strategy is to just keep working and enjoy what you do, and if that thing happens, it happens. But like treat that like each film you make is like buying a lottery ticket, and then you're like, oh, I know the business plan, I know how to make the money back, I know how to get it out there and grow my audience a little bit, but betting on that lottery ticket factor, like we're going to win Sundance, my life is going to change. Like it's the likelihood of that is that percentage is incredibly slim. So you're better to be, if you can be happy just being a working filmmaker, that's the goal.
Yeah. And I think that's a great way to look at it. Is some people are so fixated on being the next Spielberg, and then they don't reach that. They just kind of throw in the towel and that's it, right? Yeah,
like I'm in post-production on a project right now, which is it's an interactive murder mystery. So a good friend of mine, William Chevry, he had the idea. He's the executive producer. He said, I want to produce a murder mystery where somebody at home can win money by solving the case. So they're burying clues in the show, burying clues online between episodes week to week. And I bring this up because one, I really feel like this is something that hasn't been done. So it's got that potential to change the model or become something that people could be fascinated with. And at the same time, it's one of those things where when we did the movie for Blumhouse, we did the world's first live movie. Like it was a live stream movie, kind of Blair Witch style, where people thought what they were watching was real.
Yeah.
But it wasn't pre-recorded. It was actually unfolding live. And that's one of those ones you're like, this is going to change the game. And like, Variety wrote an article about it. Something's happened, but it didn't have that thing. But then that was 2015 or 16. You cut to 2024, and I'm shooting this interactive murder mystery. But part of what William and I connected over was he liked the innovative filmmaking that he had seen that I had done, and thought I might be the right person to tell this, sort of innovative interactive storytelling. So sometimes it's like it's not even about winning the victory immediately. It's just about planting the seeds. And starting those networking relationships that will lead to a project years later.
You got to play the long game, right? Like you can't keep every day hoping that you're going to blow up, right?
Yeah, it's just every industry. Like you see so many people become real estate agents and burn out immediately. But it's that industry is always
hoping for that
have
immediate gratification, right?
And you get to be your own boss and all of that, but it's hard work. You got to do it, and then you have to endure those absolutely slow economic times, but it will come back around again.
Yes, yeah. It's even in the mortgage side, like you we're fully commissioned, and you have to have the right mindset to keep your eye on the prize, keep your foot on the gas, and you may see 2-3 weeks a month where there's no income coming in, right?
I think it's about, for most artists, it's about learning to just live a little more frugal and be truly happy with that.
Yeah.
Like, because the grass is greener scenario, all my friends that I went to high school with, it's like, man, they got a cottage up north, they got a boat, they take these 2 fancy vacations a year. And I'm like,
are they happy?
I'm not doing any of that, but I am really happy making movies and doing what I'm doing. And I just I don't need any of that,
Yeah.
And some of it's like, it'd be nice, but it doesn't change my life that I don't have.
Yes.
It,
Yeah.
So if you're gonna be an artist, if you can live with less and be comfortable with that and truly happy, you'll probably have an easier time pursuing your art than just always worrying about the financial and trying to get that big success.
Yeah, you stay grounded, and when things do hit and there is an influx of wealth that's coming your way, your head's not big, and you can still talk to the average guy, right?
Well, they tell every actor, if you book a TV series, don't buy your house until the 3rd season, because you don't know if it's going to get canceled or what's going to happen. You kind of want to put that in the bank and hold on to it. Don't think that it's never gonna change.
Yeah. Final question for you, Gavin. What are some exciting things you have on the horizon that you can share?
Yeah, well, the murder mystery series I mentioned, Dream Crusher, it starts airing towards the end of February.
Awesome.
So people can sign up now. I'll get you the web link because I can't remember it. But yeah, I think that's gonna be interesting. I feel like I would watch paint dry for 7 episodes if I could win $100,000. But if I can solve this cool murder mystery. So that's one. We talked about Sydney versus Sean at the beginning. That'll be out this year. And then I have a film called Primary that I wrote with my good friend Sean Soroka. He's in a band called 10 Kills the Pack, and we've made this weird meta sci-fi movie about a band on tour across Canada that witnesses the birth of a new color that arrives on planet Earth. So it's this music film that becomes a sci-fi film, and I can't really think of another movie out there that is like it.
Yeah.
But it's been super exciting to create, and we're kind of editing it in a weird format that's not traditional, and that one I'm super excited about because I think people are going to really dig it. And then his band's music is the entire soundtrack that we shot live across Canada. His music's amazing, so music makes having talented music friends make movies better. Yeah.
Yes, it does. It does. I'm very excited. I mean, when you think of filmmaking and a filmmaker in Windsor, Essex, you think of yourself. So
well, I appreciate that. But yeah.
It's very inspiring to see what you're doing.
It's been fun living back here too because there's, and I want to say it's related to a good thing out of the pandemic is a lot of the university students, college students that were graduating from some film related program. Normally, the second they graduate, they move to Toronto. They move to Vancouver, they move to Montreal, they move to a big film hub where they can find work all the time. But 2020, 2021, 2022, that didn't happen because it wasn't practical. Nobody knew what the world was going to be. And that meant that there's 3 graduating classes, and a lot of them have stuck here. Some of them are starting to leave again, but it meant that for the first time, there was an actual film community here.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to plug into that more and help offer advice or mentorship or rent out gear cheap to people just because I do want to see people here grow and get better at what they're doing. And every year, if people go to WIF, there's WIF Local every year where they show local films.
Yes.
They have the 48-hour film challenge,
Flick
Fest, and then they also are showing a ton of locally made short films. I highly recommend people go check those out because every year the bar just gets higher and higher, and you can just see the community working. That everybody, when people work together, it's the what the high tide raises all ships.
Yes,
and that's exactly what is happening here. So I'm hoping that continues because it's also exciting to I've shot most of my feature films in Windsor. I plan on keep bringing them back. So it's nice that there's crew here. I don't have to hire people from Toronto or fly people in from LA. I can just use the people right here, which is awesome.
Yeah, the area is beautiful. Let's
you have every
take
possible
advantage, right?
location. You've got all 4 seasons. I wouldn't want to be outside filming today, but yeah.
No. Yeah, but thank you very much, Gavin, for all you do in this industry. And if those are watching, visit coffeewithcrainer.com. You can watch the episode as many times as you want. Check out an interview with Sarah Booth. Gavin's partner. It was a great series, podcast as well, and two very, very talented people in the film industry in Windsor.